Was it an insurrection or was it a disruption? They're nowhere near the same thing. First off, what is an insurrection? And can a few people walking around downtown Washington, D.C., can they in any manner, shape, or form constitute an insurrection? Unarmed, walking around in the Capitol building. Maybe it was a disruption. Quite possibly it was a disruption, and very disruptive. No doubt about that. But what does it mean? What should it mean for our country? And what do these January 6th hearings mean? At a hearing, a few things should happen. Number one, witnesses should be called. And that's witnesses from both sides. Now, we got people in the Democrat Party who definitely want to demonize everyone who's there, except, of course, for the feds. The feds were there in abundance, and there's been a lot of evidence that the feds are actually behind this whole thing from the very start. And they tricked a lot of people. But here's my point. Was it an insurrection? Even if the feds weren't involved, let's say they weren't involved. I say it was a disruption. It was quite a disruption. And it should have been prevented. It should never have been allowed to happen. And that is, in fact, Nancy Pelosi's fault. You know why? Because she did not call the Capitol Police. She did not reinforce. They knew there was going to be a problem. How they knew that, I don't know, but they have admitted they knew it. I think they knew it because the feds planned it next to them. They used a bunch of people as their stooges. Like Ray Epps. I already made a video about Ray Epps, and I'll slide something in this video about him. But Ray Epps is a federal agent who was on site on January 5th and 6th. On the 5th, he was explaining the plans to have everybody go down to the Capitol building, and on January 6th, he was there inciting rioters, encouraging rioters to commit violence and enter the building without authority to do so. However, it turns out they did have authority. It turns out that the Capitol Police welcomed them in. If you watch the videos, a lot of videos are pretty horrendous, but there's also parts of them where the Capitol Police are being very cooperative and they're helping people into the building. Except, of course, when that one guy shot and killed an unarmed woman who was just simply standing on the other side of the window. But I think they figured they had to kill somebody. It could hardly be an insurrection if nobody got killed, right? So they made sure somebody died. And then the Capitol Police guy died later on of a heart attack, and they said, oh, well, it was an insurrection. Okay, folks, it's up to you to figure this out. All right? Was it an insurrection or not? Or was it a disturbance? Okay, let's go back and look at that insurrection business. I think you'll find that, by definition, insurrection would be a conscientiously planned attack on the government of the United States with the plan to subvert it completely and take over. And place yourself into the ruling position. That, my friends, would be insurrection. Here what we had, though, was a bunch of people, not a lot of people, not enough to cause an insurrection, a bunch of people in one spot in the city in the middle of Washington, Vermont, Virginia, like Washington, D.C., there were a bunch of people in the middle of that city. How was that an insurrection? An insurrection would need to command the armed forces. You'd have to have military personnel on your side. You have to have people on your side willing to insurrect with you. is not something you just do on your own. A few people in Washington, D.C., you go into an office building and take over that building. That's not an insurrection. No definition of insurrection even remotely like that. Insurrection is you have elements embedded in every institution in the United States, including military forces, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, all of them. Space Force. And you're able to command those forces. Because an insurrection is not supported by words. An insurrection is supported by an army under military command. So what happened was a bunch of people went to Washington and demonstrated. They were maybe Trump supporters, very likely they were. They weren't insurrectionists. They were demonstrators. Remember that? Remember that word? Remember it? Demonstrators. They did that a lot, all through this country. But those demonstrators, they burnt stuff down, including police stations, small private businesses. People died. People got killed. That, my friends, wasn't an insurrection either. It was violence perpetuated by the people in power, of their loonies. Antifa. Antifa is a real enemy in this country. And the people coming across the border. Most of them are kind, simple people. But also military specialists are coming across our border in the south from all over the world. Our enemies, Iran, Russia, China. We have a lot of enemies. Every communist ideology in the world is our enemy. And they're out to get us, and they'll do their best to do that. And they're using a border crisis as a way of getting in here. And lots of them have got in. Same thing happened to Europe. In Europe they have mass migration. And that brought the armies of Europe's enemies into Europe. And they're there now. You notice that almost all these immigrants are young men. 95% of the immigrants are young, strong men of military age. Many have been trained in the military, and many are here to carry out military operations. Not most of them, not anywhere near most of them. Doesn't have to be most of them. Only needs to be a few. It happens to be quite a few. It's a big country, so there are quite a few in the country already. A lot of Chinese, a lot of Iraqis, Iranians, a lot of Syrians, a lot of communists. Communists are invading this country en masse and are taking up positions and posts all around the country, both in official capacity and as cell units. And yeah, someone's waiting to pull the trigger. The trigger has been, the hammer is cocked and the trigger is being squeezed. You know, I don't know who's more dangerous, Biden or Putin. But in combination, those two have put our entire world at peril. Like Pearl Harbor, we are at peril. My friends, I love you. Thank you for watching. I'll get back to you in the next video. Pay attention to what's going on. Google it. I hate that word, but do it. Read. And read some more. Love you. I'm out.